We now welcome in Luke Johnson of NOLA.com, the Times-Picayune. And Luke, I don't know about you, but we're in this vibe where, in Arizona, NFL owners meetings, you talk to Mickey, you talk to Dennis. I'm sensing optimism with this franchise right now. I think they feel good about how this offseason's gone.
I think they feel a lot better about themselves than a lot of other people do.
Yeah.
They don't really care what other people think about them. They got their quarterback.
Yeah.
They crossed off a big bunch of their needs this offseason. They're going into the draft feeling like they can just take a really good player and just let him get in and see what he can do. I think they're in a great spot right now. Well, we'll see what actually happens when they go out and play, but they've done everything they needed to do and they feel good about it.
Yeah, and if you look around kind of the landscape of the NFC, in particular the NFC South, feels very attainable. I think that's got to sort of play into where that optimism comes from as well. Not just adding to the roster, but also the division that they're playing in.
Yeah, absolutely. It's why they went for it last year.
Right.
Right. They saw what everybody else ended up seeing in the NFC South. They're like, this is attainable. We can go out and do it. Now they got their quarterback, and I think if they get a little bit better injury luck, I think they have every reason to feel like they are in control of this right now. Right, and they got to go out and do it. But I think they feel like they're the class of the division. I don't think they're wrong.
When you look at the moves made, anyone jump out in terms of a surprise? Because for me, I think the biggest surprise was Jameis coming back. I didn't think it was going to happen. It certainly sounded like when Dennis Allen talked earlier this week, he was even a little surprised that he would accept those terms. But any other moves, or maybe that's the move that you, in terms of surprises?
Yeah, if you would have asked me in January, like, what do you think is going to happen with Michael Thomas and Jameis Winston, I'd be like, gone.
Right.
No chance. No chance of coming back. And honestly, like, getting Derek in the building was really huge for getting Mike Thomas.
Yeah.
We all saw his posts on social media.
Yeah, right.
But the Jameis one is still, I'm still trying to wrap my head around how that happened.
Yeah.
I think it's great for the Saints.
Yeah.
Jameis is an accomplished quarterback. Obviously, he's very well liked within the building.
Mm-hmm.
But still, Andy Dalton went out and got a nice 2-year deal with Carolina.
Right.
That's kind of the sort of thing I expected to see for Jameis.
Right.
And for him to agree to take a pay cut to come back, that helps the Saints in so many different ways, whether it's with salary cap or with just having an accomplished number 2. We've seen the last couple of years how important that is.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, huge surprise, but
here it is. It's here. You mentioned something right there, salary cap. Saints salary cap just triggers the outside world.
Yes, it does.
In particular, the national media. Their approach is their approach. And here's the thing. They've never bottomed out. They've never had anything worse than a 7-win season. To me, it's one of those things where they don't care what other people think because they believe in their house it's working. Their approach.
100%. Yeah. And look, the Saints lose David Onyemata and Marcus Davenport and Shai Tuttle, and everybody's like, salary cap.
Right.
The Eagles lose C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Javon Hargraves and Miles Sanders, key players on like their Super Bowl team.
Yeah.
And everybody's like,
Right.
So I just don't really understand the obsession with the way the Saints manage the cap. Every single year they are compliant. Mm-hmm. Every single year they put themselves in position to acquire players. It was only like a week ago they'd spent the second most money out of any team.
Right.
And they were $70 million over the cap.
Yeah.
So who cares?
Right.
As long as they're putting themselves in position to compete, like that's what people should want. I would much rather have a team that's going for it every year than a team that is just like, all right, blow it all up.
Yeah.
We're not going to be competitive.
Yeah.
Like, who wants to see that?
Yeah, and I don't think that works in New Orleans. I just think that, and I think they got a good read on that with fan base and everything else. So I'm with you there. I guess we'll finish up with this. There's still some smaller signings to be done free agency-wise, but it looks like now they're going to really pivot to the draft soon. Do you think they keep their best player available approach, or how do you think they navigate the draft scenario?
Well, yeah, I think they've put themselves in position to take the best player, but I still think that best player is going to come at a handful of positions.
Exactly.
There's places where they know they need to get better, but I don't think they're going to have to go with a defensive tackle just because they need one, right?
Right.
3 weeks ago, everybody's like, they're absolutely taking a defensive tackle first round. They don't have to do that right now. Maybe, it's a really good tight end class.
It is.
Maybe one of the top guys is there at 29 and you're not expecting to be there. They can snag that guy. Maybe Bijan Robinson is there at 29. Doubtful, but maybe.
It's possible, yeah.
You signed Jamal Williams, but so what?
Right.
Have an outstanding running back room with, Kamara and Jamal Williams, Bijan Robinson. Like they're now in a position where they can do whatever they want. But I think whatever they want doesn't mean they're going to draft a corner in the first round or somewhere where they're already pretty deep.
Yeah.
I still think it's gonna fortify some of the weaker spots, but they're not like backed into a corner where they have to take a certain position now.
Yeah, and I think that's where they want to be. And we'll see. 29 for now. We'll see, because there's always
you
a
gotta say
chance.
29 for now.
For now. We'll see if they move up. Luke, thank you.
My pleasure.
All right.